Hey, Renter Club members. Figured I'd do a video on the Excursion. I know it's in my channel a good bit. Really like this car, and it suffered a huge wreck on Monday. And I'm still waiting on a police report so I can contact that lady's insurance. Now, when did you have to start waiting a week to get a police report? I don't know, something about Brunswick, gotta wait a week. So here it is, it just sits here. Now I could jump in it and drive wherever I wanted to go, unless it's dark, since I only have one headlight right now, and I think maybe one blinker. So figured I'd show you around, let you see the carnage, and let you see what a good car this is that was able for me to drive it 100 miles back home after the accident with only loosening a couple bolts for the fan shroud. So here's my view. Hood's not so in the way there, but a whole lot in the way over here. So couldn't see a whole lot to begin with in front of the car, but on the right side, really can't see anything. So how about a cold start? It's been 4 days. Wow. No lights on the dash. 214,000 miles, and it runs great. I would drive this car anywhere. So let me set up how the accident happened. Me and Amy were going to Brunswick. It's about 100 miles from home. We're going to look at a car because we sold the Jeep. And we were about maybe 2 blocks from where this fella had the car. And so I've got my Apple CarPlay on. The directions are coming up. So I'm checking street signs just to be sure I know where to turn. I might have been going 35 miles an hour. And so as I check the sign on the right, see it's not where I should be turning. And as I turn my head back forward, I see the front fender, hood, and the driver's door of a red Wrangler right in front of me. So I hit the brakes as fast as I can, and I don't even know if I hit them for a second. And then I hit the Jeep in its back door, since it was a 4-door. Hit it in the back door, hit it in the rear quarter, in the tire, the wheel, just under where her window was on her hardtop. And as I did that, my head hit the ceiling, and pretty much my neck was hurting, my back was hurting. Not right away. I guess adrenaline kind of knocks that out. Did notice a little headache come on about an hour later. And Amy was beside me. Our little dog Cricket was riding with us, and Cricket ended up between my feet and the floor. And so she's fine. Caught Amy off guard because, I mean, she trusts that I drive safely, and I do, and drove the speed limit all the way there. This thing was getting 16.3 miles a gallon, and to be a big V10 with 214,000 miles, I thought that's pretty impressive. So there was no need to get in a hurry to get there. So I figured, why speed? Why take the chances? Why deal with small town issues of getting a ticket? So just drove slow. Now we're in Brunswick and on a back street behind the mall, and we're on a 4-lane, has a paved median. The road to the left that the Wrangler come off of was a 2-lane, and she just came straight across. So when I made contact with her, I was even with the lane she was heading towards, and spun her around, and she actually went in off the culvert into the ditch, wiped out the stop sign, and I went about 15 more feet before I came to a full stop. Now the truck did shut off because the fuel pump, the inertia switch activated, and so it did shut down. And so I didn't think of that right at first. It shut down, and I was like, great, my engine's done. She must have torn something up. Tried to crank it twice immediately, and all it did was stumble. So Amy was very upset being caught off guard and then being in a wreck. So then we had the witnesses coming over and saying they saw what happened and checking on us, and all that was great, and we really appreciated that. But it's, seconds after it happened, and that is a tough thing to have to hear, the concerns and niceties from the witnesses. And we're here kind of in shock that someone didn't stop for a 4-lane road and just came right across. And we get it. People make mistakes. They happen all the time. And that's what insurance is for. But it was rough. But this car did its job, and it protected us. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what happened. My door is really tight. Looks like it's been hitting here. You can see some of the buckle in the fender there. Right here, I believe is her wheel. That's where her wheel hit, because it's round. And this is black. And so I think that this bar here, the safety bar, so we didn't drive over. They put it on for excursions because cars would go under them in impacts. And you can see, there's some tread marks right there. So this is where her back wheel hit and took out her tire. Now this, I did notice. See that there? That wasn't there. It looks like, I don't know if it was dirt or paint flaked off. The steering wheel is not straight. And this thing rode dead straight when we were going down. So I believe it's pushed the frame all towards the passenger side. I took out my blinker and light. Now the grill was on here, but I could not get to my latch on the side of the road because the hood was smashed down on top of the grill, so I actually had to tear that off. But it was all mangled already anyway. So you can see the header panel is broken. You can see where the fog light, the LED bulb backing there, the fan hit the condenser. Both sides. Didn't pierce it though. There's a little bit of her paint right there. The power steering cooler here did fine. See some of her paint on the shackle there. You can see it's a little bent out there. Not necessarily straight like it was. When we get over to here, and I used to think, man, I got a dent in my bumper right here because this was where I hit a deer about 1.5 years ago. Not such a big deal now. You can see the bumper is pushed over. There's marks here and all in here. And then there's a mark there. So you can see the door. The fender was pushed back into the door, and so they made contact and bent that out. The hood's bowed up. Battery's tilted a little bit. I'm gonna pop the hood so I can show you what it looks like under there. I just set you down there for just a second because it takes 2 hands to try to get this thing open. All right, welcome back. Well, the hood is up. You can see the crumple zone did its job there. Now let's look down here. Some new primer there showing. See, that got pushed back. So, and even though the radiator may have been pushed back a little on the core support, I mean, there's still 3 inches between the fan and radiator. So I was glad for that. So they didn't make contact. That was my head hitting the hood because it's not in its original position anymore. Now, what I did have to do, I did have to take off this bracket here that held the radiator and the bolt that held the shroud on because of that. And you can see the dart on the blade there where the blade was self-clearancing on the way home. But I think I stopped at 2 red lights maybe and a couple stop signs. I didn't want to be on the interstate and it break down. I'd rather be in a small town or in between. I know that kind of sounds backwards, but I want to be able to pull over and work on it and not be in danger. So down here behind the condenser, you see the transmission cooler. It got bent, but there's still so much room here. I mean, wider than my hand. Looking under the core support here, you can see paint flake where this latch was pushed back. A little more paint flake there. So I'm sure that that's bent. So that's basically it for the damage. It's going to need a header panel bumper, radiator core support, hood, both fenders, passenger door or skin. Now I can still drive this wherever I want to go, as long as it isn't dark. That way I ain't got to deal with one headlight and having to deal with getting pulled over. But the amount of police cars that I passed on the way home, none of them even looked my direction. So that's good. Now the issue. This is a great car in great condition to be 22 years old. The paint isn't bad. The interior isn't bad. I mean, the driver's seat, I'm in it all the time, and it's got like a little rip here on the stitching and then a little one on the seat. But Kelley Blue Book is putting the top end value in very good condition at $7,500. I mean, I can't buy one. I've looked on Marketplace for one in this condition, V10, 4-wheel drive, similar condition. You can't find them for under 10. And so I don't know what to do. Would this be a great candidate for a front end swap? That 12 to 16 F-250 front end swap? I'd love that, and it'd look kind of new. But I think the fight is about to begin with the insurance because, you know, do they care that it's in good condition? They're gonna. This is, you know, our family hauler. This is how we get around. This hauls whatever we want to. You can't go find an F-250 in this condition for that Kelley Blue Book price. Can't find an Excursion for that price. I still need something that can do work when I need it to. And something that my family can be safe in, because this car has proved itself, and I always knew that it could, but it's just tore up now. But I'm impressed that I was able to drive away and drive it 100 miles. It didn't lose any fluids. Only thing I had to do is reset that inertia switch and make a little clearance for the fan to work and hit the road. And on the way home, it got 15.5 miles a gallon. No longer was it aerodynamic, which it was aerodynamic as a barn door to start with. But I will tell you, without the grill and all that other stuff up there, the AC has never been colder. And that was a nice surprise. Actually, I had to turn it down. So I appreciate you watching. glad to give you a little insight on the accident, and appreciate you being a Wrencher Club member. And you get to see a little of the behind the scenes, and this is something that won't make the channel for the regular public to see. A little bit of what Hammer Wrench does in their off time. They let their car sit and wait on an insurance claim, which we have to wait on the police to file the report. What takes a week to file a report? I mean, 11 cops showed up to the accident. There wasn't really anything going on that day, I don't think. He should have time to write a report. So, take care. We'll see you next time.